Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we've got a video talking about really bad decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! That really deserve support. I love doing these types of videos. I like to do them every couple of months because we see random decks on the list actually end up getting support. We've seen Amazonas end up in a Legendary Duelist. They have been on my list in the past. Literally, what was it, in either November or December of 2021, I talked about Weather Painters. Then they immediately got confirmed for their 2 new cards. The field spell helped them a ton. So I just want to throw it out there. Hopefully, maybe this gets a little traction. Konami sees this. I doubt it. I don't think we're big enough at this moment in time. But still, we can hope. And I want to just throw out that good energy because I've got 5 decks that I would want to see that are really bad, that need support really bad. And I think it would do Konami some good. And also props to Konami. They've been nailing legacy support as of late. I just made the video the other day where I was just talking about how they've actually been doing so good with legacy support. I mean, Naturias look competent now. You had told me they were going to give Naturias 3 cards and they were going to look legitimately competent. I'd be like, yeah, right. They do. It's cool. They got some really powerful support, and hopefully the same thing could happen for these decks. But let's get into it. Starting off with number 1 here. These are in order for me personally, and obviously I am biased on these because it's supposed to be decks that I want to see more than anything. Number 1 is Volcanics. I wouldn't say that I have any personal connections to Volcanics. I think they look cool. They have a handful of cards. I like that they work very different from a lot of other decks, but their stuff is just power creep to shit. I mean, I don't even know how many of their cards that they have right now in their archetype that would even transfer over to the next version. If they got a big wave of support, let's say they ended up in a Legendary Duelist, they get 7 new cards. I don't even know how many of their cards. I think Rocket probably would, because I would assume they'd get new versions of Blaze Accelerator that were more modern and can keep up with modern day Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe a continuous that gives you an interruption every turn would be really ideal. But yeah, it's hard to say. But all in all, they deserve it. I mean, they just do. It's played by an anime character. I cannot believe this archetype has not ended up with support sooner than it has. Hopefully, and I'm putting that good energy out there. I've mentioned this a couple times. We've gotten, in the past couple of months, we've gotten the Wind Legendary Duelist. Before that was even Dark. So Dark Legendary Duelist, if you want to go that far back. Wind Legendary Duelist. Water Legendary Duelist, we just got in the TCG and in the OCG. We may not even get that product, but the Earth Legendary Duelist came out. We don't have to get that product, but as long as they do the product in the OCG, we'll get those cards imported at some point. So they've done Earth, they've done all of them except for Light and Fire. If they do Fire, I feel like Volcanics have a ginormous chance of ending up in there. I'm going to put that energy out there. Hopefully we get it, because if we do, this is absolutely one of those archetypes that needs 7 new cards, and they need to really be, cohesive and solid altogether. But I hope it's out there. Putting that good energy out there. Let's get it. Next up is Magna Warriors. You guys know where I stand on Magna Warriors. They dicked this deck so bad. They put it out as a structure deck at the same exact time they put out ABCs. ABCs were immediately part of the metagame, and this deck did not get a whiff of anything competitive. They do have some powerful cards, though. I do think these small Electromagnet Warriors are legitimately better than the ABC pieces, except for one thing, is that the ABC pieces are not hard ones per turn, but these are. But these effects are actually so good. And with the new card, Epsilon, they actually rotate so much resources on the opponent's turn. But the deck just doesn't have win condition. If this deck had its own ABC Dragon Buster, I legitimately think this could be played as a rogue deck. I really think it has some nice pieces. We've got an Induction, which is a really powerful extender card. We've got an Epsilon, which is an insane new target to be able to summon out on the opponent's turn, to be able to rotate a ton of resources. And if they got an ABC Dragon Buster-esque card that's you can kind of just banish your materials from grave to summon him. He has an interruption effect, and he can tag out. We would be cooking, I think, with this deck. I really believe that. But until we get it, I still really appreciate a Rhoda card, an actual consistency piece. But I still think you can play enough names that the Magna Warriors are actually more so starters than the ABC pieces. That's the plus, where the ABC pieces are kind of just bricks. So hopefully we get this. I don't want to have to wait until their time comes in 2026, when it's time for their Structure Deck R series to get a new Structure Deck. That's just way too long. We've gotten 2 new cards in the last 2 years. We just need a win condition, a legit good win condition, so we don't have to play Valkyria and we don't have to rely too much on Berserkion. That's what we need. Please, give us some win conditions. Number 3, Tellarknights. I've screamed to the heavens how much we need new Tellarknight cards, and they don't need much. I do think this archetype is pretty set up. They have some powerful extra deck monsters. They have multiple main deck monsters. You're like, that's a decent card. You've got Deneb, which is a Rhoda or a Stratos. You've got Altair, which is kind of like your Wolf Bark in the archetype. Like, you've got ways to plus. The one thing the deck doesn't do, though, is it doesn't have a way to search its own spell and traps. That is what I want to see, and I want to see it done really, really smoothly. So one of two things. I either want to see a new level 4 Tellarknight that just says, when this card's summoned, it's just Deneb, but searches Teller spells and traps instead. That way you could either search Skybridge to extend you into like a Deneb, to get you more follow-up, get you more like cards going. Search Stellar Nova Alpha to search the counter trap. Like right now there's an argument to be made, like you don't even have to play the counter trap, because it's not searchable, and it's fine. It's a fine interruption, but it's not searchable. So, like, why do you need to play it? It's okay. But if it was searchable, it'd be so much better. And then, of course, you could play Genesis, which is like a pretty good back removal card that would be searchable in the deck. It'd have a main deck Mystic Mine out, I guess, that kind of is searchable, which is cool. But yeah, if they want to go a little harder than that, give them 3-4 cards, cool. Give them a new spell trap option. Give them a way to search them, which could be either a level 4 monster or a Link 1. Right, because this deck needs speed. That's the biggest thing for it. It's just too slow. We can't go back to the days where we just go normal Deneb, search Altair, set 2, maybe 3 cards, and pass. That is not getting it done in 2021, especially if you have to go second. You're just not even getting that search off, and your Stellar Nova Alphas are dead. All that stuff is just not great. So. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. They need ways to get access from their monsters to the spell traps, and that's what I want to see. And plus, this one doesn't make any sense. This is like an old, good deck in the competitive scene, so there are those nostalgic players that used to play this deck and really love it. It's a warrior archetype that's also space-themed, so like Galactic Warriors kind of thing. So aesthetically, a lot of players love those warrior archetypes. I just don't get it. I think Konami, if they made a solid wave of Tellarknight support, it would just it would help sell a set so much. Like, it would just be a really nice highlight for a set, because so many players would probably be into it. So I don't know why they waited so long. I think they should hit it up soon. All right, number 2, Batterymen. This is one where when I was younger, I used to love Batterymen. I loved their designs. I thought they were so cool, and I still do. But also they have a handful of cards that are really, really intriguing. We've seen Solar be a part of Thunder Dragon builds. He is an Armageddon Knight that also gets you an extra token body later on as well. Like, you got to respect him. That's just a good card right there in 2021. You've also got 9-Volt. They've got their own Stratos. That's the one thing you've seen. Like, literally, Tellarknights have a Stratos. Magna Warriors have a Stratos. Technically 2. And Volcanics technically have like a Stratos. Like, all these archetypes have Stratos. They have these nice little pieces in place. We just haven't seen Konami cash in on them. So Batterymen need a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. They need a little bit more. But I do think if they got like 4 or 5 cards and Konami really made them cohesive, they would need a win condition. They really don't have like a boss monster that is interruption. They need something there. 2, maybe like 1 or 2 more extenders. I don't know if they'd be spell traps or whatever. It'd also be nice if we could search a spell trap, because like 9-Volt only searches monsters. Solar only dumps monsters. It'd be nice if we had a way to search spells and traps, like any battery spell trap, because they do have a handful of decent ones, like Charger. This is just a non-once per turn monster reborn for Batterymen. And if they got a way to like search this easily, it'd give them much more opportunity to just extend through play. So that would be really cool. I don't know. I definitely think that there's definitely a nice start here. They just need to like capitalize on it and kind of just go after it, give them some extension, give them a win condition, and we might be looking at something splashy, especially since like there are rumors that like, well, not rumors, but people say like we could get Colossus to 1. It wouldn't be that big of a problem. Well, maybe if you do, and we get Batteryman support within like the same time frame, like we could be looking at Batteryman Thunder Dragon builds. Be pretty cool. I don't know. But yeah, Batteryman definitely number 2 for me. I really, really want to see this. They kind of have a similar feel to Magna Warriors to me, aesthetically, and I just love their designs. They just look so cool. So number 2, Batterymen, which takes us to number 1. It's ninjas. I've been talking about them in the past throughout the past week. We got the new V-Jump card, artwork revealed, but we don't have the card yet. We know it's a ninja card. It's Green Ninja. Really hoping that card is solid, but let's be honest. With where this deck is right now, one even awesome ninja support card is not going to thrust this deck into competitive playability. They probably need not only that, but at least like a handful of other cards. They probably need something. Going through the deck, they have a couple of good monsters. You have like Hanzo, you have Saizo in the extract. Those are the two biggest highlights in the whole archetype for me. And those are good highlights. Those are really big positions, but they just like, I skipped to a trap here because they do not have like a legitimately good spell card in the archetype at all. I've heard that in the anime they actually had a like a Rhoda card that just like search ninjas. Like that would be really, really nice because like right now it's just like if you don't see Hanzo, the deck doesn't feel like it generates enough advantage. Right? And so some spells would be really nice, especially if it was a Rhoda that had ninjutsu art in the name. That would be so crazy. And then I don't know, like other than that, like maybe you power creep some cards. We definitely need some extenders because a lot of times if you can even get to Saizo, you only get to Saizo, which means he sets a ninjutsu art card, but all the good ninjutsu arts tribute a ninja. You don't want to lose your Saizo, so you always want to summon Saizo with another ninja under him, at least one more, and you want to tribute that. And so like that becomes part of the problem is because the deck doesn't extend well enough. You don't consistently end on Saizo with another ninja. Hopefully we could get some good extenders, maybe some good consistency cards to help like just see the best ninja cards more consistently. I don't know what Green Ninja will end up being, but regardless of how good he is, I doubt he will fix the archetype by himself. He's a good start. I hope they follow up on it and maybe throw in some new ninja support in like a new core set coming up or something. I don't know. We're in the middle of Darkwing Blast reveals. Maybe it could be something there. We'll see. But I'm very hopeful. I really love this archetype aesthetically. Again, kind of like Teller Knights, it's a deck that has been competitively relevant in the past, even in Duel Links, right? So it kind of pulls from a little bit of that player base too, if we got support. It's a warrior archetype that looks just absolutely badass. Some of the coolest warrior designs in all of the game come from this archetype. And I think for those reasons, like I think if they gave them like legit good support, that there would be another thing where it would become one of the bigger highlights of a core set. And if you just want to have solid core sets, like you got to have the small stuff in there that kind of build up to an overall great product. And I think this would facilitate that quite nicely. But yeah. Those are the 5 archetypes that I think that are like pretty bad, like unplayable in a competitive format right now, the modern one at least. And I'd love to see support. Most of these need like a wave, not just one card. Maybe Teller Knights arguably could be one card away, but most of the other archetypes on here probably need a couple of cards to really get there. But I'm hopeful. I think most of them are fan favorites anyway, so like it kind of behooves Konami not to go after this support, right? So come on. Let's see it. But yeah, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for watching. As always, guys, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff from me. And please let me know down below what else would be on this list for you personally. Bad archetypes that really, really need support. Haven't gotten them in a while. And you would like just absolutely go crazy for it, especially if it made them at least like a rogue level deck. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear those. But I'm out of here. Peace.